can't make the move. I can't come to Duck. I'm at 15 years where I am, and I'm going to get this. You know, it's hard to box that in, but it's on the minds of applicants.
So there are ways to do.
I think that's fair.
So what we can do is that the ordinance says, or that changes the personnel policy, and we can word in there what I'm hearing from, I think, two, and that it would be, if they state our plan, we'll have option B that can be inserted, and you all can discuss that at your meeting in July.
And, work with the planning board on several zoning text amendments.
But wait, there's more. Tuition assistance.
But wait, it's more.
Assistance.
But wait, it's more.
I lost my slides. I lost my slides, so I lost my train of thought. So I don't know if we can get those back up or not. Okay, but so what we had proposed in the budget is and I guess we'll answer any questions. But what we're proposing, are looking at and trying to implement in a reasonable way, and not trying not to go overboard. But I think we need to encourage our folks to further their education if they want to do that, and this is just a small way to help them. And COA does a really good job with course offerings here, and I know that Ms. Nickens found out very recently that you can actually get some tuition assistance through the DARE Challenge, the DARE, what's it called? Huh? DARE Guarantee program.
And also a lot of very good online programs toward a degree, a master's, bachelor's, whatever, so.
Yeah, my only comment is you're limiting it. You prioritize based on the budget. I think that eligible employees, we find the money. I mean, you may have a certain amount budgeted, but from the general fund, we should be able to if you got
probationary period for employment, I would imagine, or
so.
Did I miss that bullet?
Yeah, it must. So that's the third bullet. Must have completed their probationary period. So
the normal.
Correct. So that's in that ordinance as well that you'll consider adopting next month. Thank you, Joe, for reminding me that I had one more. Any more questions on that? About that, Mayor?
Thank you, Joe. Well, before we go on number 8, I saw that Carol Paulo joined us, and
yes, I'm so sorry. It took me 25 minutes from Kathy's visit.
we understand that. And congratulations, have been reappointed to the Board of Adjustments.
Thank you for doing that.
Now we'll go on to 8, the new business discussion, consideration of authorizing staff to work with the planning board on zoning text amendments. Joe, are you handling that?
The only thing I'll say on that is don't mind us spending the time to research these issues and come up with solutions for your consideration.
So, Robert, do we need a motion to authorize?
No, Mayor, I don't think so. I think this is just maybe consent.
Department reports, Ms. Nickens, Chief Ackerman, Mr. Gould, and then Deputy Chief Bachelet. And while Ms. Nickens is coming up, I will acknowledge and thank the efforts of our staff on the budget. It really is a team effort, and it's really a blessing to be supported by such dedicated and intelligent people as we put this budget together. Efforts of Councilman Whitman. I don't know how many folks understand the number of hours that he puts in as really our de facto second maintenance person. So Mr. Whitman was here helping to hang lights in this room. He fixes solar lights. Pretty much anything that Kim Pittman needs a second set of hands with, Mr. Whitman is out there working, and we appreciate his efforts and putting up with us, and certainly appreciate his sense of humor as he does it, because everyone knows that you need to do this kind of stuff. But thank you, Sandy, for all your help, and on behalf of our staff, thank you.
All right, good evening, Council. Thanks for your patience with the power, and as predicted, power cut, so the stream cut. So there is another stream going, but to anybody who is limping along with us, I'll do my best to get something posted. Of course, everything works, and then a power outage happens, so sorry. So just a couple public information updates. I have been doing some safety campaigns. I did my own little spin on the Hurricane Preparedness Week. Instead of posting singular graphics that might have gotten lost on people's radars, I did compile them into one, I think it's appealing, graphic series that was posted on our social platforms, and those had pretty good interactions. And you'll see more safety campaigns such as beach safety, bike and pedestrian safety, golf carts, and low-speed vehicles. The two that I want to explore more of that I haven't seen previously are holes on the beach and also pack it up and pack it out. So working on really pushing the information about those two things, because unfortunately you heard of the individual that passed away from digging a hole in the beach. So really want to get that message out there to, be safe if you decide to dig anything. And of course, pack it up, pack it out. It's really important to take everything with you, leave only footprints. So I'll be creating some more information and pushing that out. We are doing red flag alerts. Those have started in full force. I am using the days in which, and this is just an example from the other day, where there is a moderate risk, to use that as an opportunity to educate that while there aren't necessarily red flag conditions, it's still hazardous, and how to spot a rip current, how to escape one, and things like that. So still using these informational pieces to promote safety. Jazz Festival, I got my last jazz contract, so we have a lineup. I'm super excited about it. Some material will start going out for that. I am starting to receive some sponsor commitments, and official inquiries will be going out soon. And I have started to expand Jazz Weekend to a Jazz Week. So I'm looking at, capitalizing and maximizing on people that have traveled to the Jazz Festival and giving them a full week of jazz events. The one that I recently got was the director of, he's a professor of music at Elizabeth City State University for their jazz program, and he is going to come do by a speaker series about jazz and its history in Pasquotank County and in the local area. So he's really excited to come be part of our Jazz Festival, and I'm excited to have that part of the community be part of it too. I did create a media kit. There's a lot of information that we want our visitors to know to keep them safe and to take care of our town, and I have put that on our website. I've also put it on our social media. We have gotten some requests to have them printed, and while we aren't printing them, I did create a poster that is available on our website. So it has all of and it's called the Top 10 Tips to Keep You, Your Family, Friends, Guests, and our environment safe and protected. And this is available on our website as well. If anybody is watching, here's a QR code. See, that will take you directly to the website where you'll have all the materials, and I also created an accessible version as well, so it does have the alt text descriptions, because we want everybody to be safe, and we want to make sure that everyone can come to Duck, enjoy their time, but also be responsible and safe. Beach nourishment is complete. I believe Joe or Jim will be going into more detail on that. I will be posting updates on our website to encapsulate everything that happened. There is a time-lapse video that I just posted, I think it was yesterday, that shows progress of the Beach Nourishment Project. So if you haven't seen that already, check it out. I'll be pushing that once I get everything uploaded. And I'll also be adding a photo gallery, especially since I was fortunate enough to take a tour of the Magdalene. And that picture that you see of the water tower was my view when I got on the dredge. And I thought it was pretty cool to see Duck from that point of view, because I haven't seen it that way before. So I'll be posting photos from that tour as well, along with other photos that were provided by CPE and Sandy. Switching gears here to events, fitness started last week. We do have some great numbers. We had 30 attendees last week, 50 attendees this week, and we do have a full slate of events starting up next week. We have magic shows, our story time and chalk time, or chalk art, excuse me. Justin Trawick and the Common Good will be here on Thursday to kick off the summer concert series, and then the following Tuesday, the amphitheater shows begin with the North Carolina Aquarium. And again, anybody watching, if you scan this QR code, it will take you to our events website. Give you a second. Okay. And also on June 20th, I do have a special by a speaker series, and it's special because it's on a Tuesday, not a Thursday. This will be our last one until the off season. We are going to pick back up in September, I believe, but Dr. Reed Corbett from the Coastal Studies Institute will be coming to do a presentation on the past, present, and future of North Carolina's coast. I had the pleasure of taking the Leadership Outer Banks class with Dr. Corbett, and he's a great, intelligent individual, and I highly encourage everybody to attend. He's very excited to present, especially here in Duck. And we've had to date 208 bricks sold. Those keep going, so if anybody's watching, you still have until the end of the year to get your orders in. And the 4th of July is just right around the corner. Our Grand Marshal is Chuck Burdick, and our 3 judges are Kent Zimmerman, Sarah Zimmerman, and Stacy Walters. At this time, we only have 10 entries. Well, this was as of yesterday, but registration is open until the 21st. So make sure you get those in and join us in the parade.
It's almost 4th of July. Jeez.
And that's all I have. Any questions?
PK?
Yes.
Can you go back to where you had the trash?
That one?
I'm just, see, nowhere do you say when to take them in by on there.
Yeah.
Roll back no later than
I see
10
it now,
p.m.
under the
Yeah.
blue. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, it's okay. And I can, if you'd like, I can email that to you too, so you can see it.
No, that's, I was looking under the trash, not the recycling.
And as Drew mentioned too, I have been talking with Tim Sweeney and the College of the Albemarle about taking advantage of the DARE Guarantee program, which if anyone's unfamiliar with it, it does give the opportunity for Dare County residents to pursue workforce professional development courses through COA. And thanks to them and their board, they have approved me to take the Adobe Certified Professional course, which will teach me a new skill set of Adobe programs. So I'll be able to do more design, more web design, create more of our graphics and everything in-house, which ultimately will have a cost savings effect for taxpayers because we'll be able to move some of those services here. So I'm really excited about that. And if anyone's interested, check them out, DARE Guarantee. Tim Sweeney's always happy to provide information about that. So.
Okay, thank you so much. I was going to mention this at the council comments section, but I've had such great feedback from those graphics that you came up with and designed. The media kit really makes it, I've shared that with my entire staff, and of course looking for ways to get it out all the time to the visitors, but it just was a really, I just got unsolicited comments back from everybody saying how easy it was to follow, and they really liked it. So kudos to you and all you're doing with everything. Thank you.
And as always, if anyone ever hears any feedback or anything, please tell me. I'm always happy to hear that. And one thing, I won't go into it with this presentation, but next month I will have more information about the communication survey that just went out, so that will give us some more insight as to what people are looking for when they communicate with the town. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kay.
Thank you.
Congratulations again on your 5 years.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm back. Good evening again. I'll try to keep this fairly brief. Just some May statistics. We saw traffic enforcement actions start to creep back up to summer levels. Motor vehicle crashes, we saw a huge increase in that, with the majority being crosswalk crashes. We're seeing a lot of cars stop. I say crosswalk crosses, we're seeing a lot of crashes where cars stop outside of crosswalks to let somebody come across, and the following vehicle hits them. So it's a constant issue for us, and unfortunately it will be going forward. Business checks are up, and then we still had a lot of our residents out of town that requested extra patrol. So just over 1,100 calls for service in May. LPR data has been posted on the website. Everything's there. We're seeing some big volume changes in cars. So April to May, we saw about 144,000 additional vehicles travel through Duck, which is about a 25% increase over the previous month. So still seeing a high volume, and anybody that was out and about today certainly saw that. I think everybody who owned a car is on Duck Road today. And we're still seeing a high 50%, 58% of vehicles that are coming into Duck and going out towards Corolla. So that's still that trend is holding true. And then with the passage of the budget, we'll be able to put up radar vehicle sensors, which are going to give us much more accurate data on our vehicle volumes than we're currently getting from the LPR, which is good, but it can be better. So looking forward to getting those up. Really appreciate the council's forethought and willingness to provide early funding for the patrol vehicle replacements. We got extremely lucky when we reached out to the dealer to get the order. We were told 16 to 18 month lead time likely. Just by sheer luck, another town in North Carolina had ordered silver Ford Explorers, and they came in with the incorrect configuration. They refused them, replaced the order. It took so long to get them, they went a different route. They came in anyway, and the day I called was the day they came off the truck, and they weren't allocated. So we ended up getting 3 perfect police cars, and we purchased a 4th from a dealer in Virginia. So we have the cars, which was really the biggest step. The emergency equipment and graphics have been ordered. With everything crazy in the supply chain, we're not looking at that being a very quick process, but fingers crossed that we'll get those cars upfitted and in service by mid to late summer. So unfortunately, we're in the line behind a long line of other towns that have vehicles waiting to get through. Happy to report that we hung the first of the 3-camera pilot project. It initially was a 2-camera project. We had an anonymous donor in Duck who supported the idea and wanted to fund a 3rd camera. So we'll have both ends of town and the middle covered for the pilot. So we'll see if this works. We'll get this link to the website soon, but that is 13th Avenue at Sea Oats Trail. I can see it on my screen, Kay, but I'm not seeing it. Everyone else is not seeing it. Let me see how best to do this. So, unlike DOT's cameras, which are a time-lapse type camera, ours are completely live, live streamed 24 hours a day with traffic. So our residents will be able to jump on the town website and see there's somebody who looks like a motorized bike driving down our trail. Yep. We'll deal with that, but so you never know what you're going to see. But this as soon as we get the other 2 cameras out, huge thank you to Kim Pittman and to Sandy as well for helping to get the way paved. We ran into some unexpected things and had to bring in an electrician to do some work. But looks like we'll have the cameras hung by next week, and all 3 will be live for you. So
That is great, so you can check traffic conditions before you head out.
Exactly, that's our hope. And if this works,
Yeah.
we'd love to expand that in time. Apologize, let me get this back
Are
online.
we recording as well as that's going on, Chief?
Say that, I'm
Are
sorry.
they recording as well?
Yes, sir. We have a 30-day retention on them. They've got some great behind the software features for us that'll help from a crime standpoint. Thanks, Kay. But yeah, it's kind of a twofold project. And
Good.
having that's going to be a big help.
These don't replace the LPRs though, right?
No, not at all. No, the LPRs will still work. This will primarily for the public, but there's a component will allow us to use this with the LPRs as kind of a tandem project. So I think it'll just serve to strengthen our force against property crime in Duck that LPRs have given us so far.
Jeff, where do you go to find this?
We're going to get them up on the town site, on the
they're not
website,
yet out.
hopefully. Soon as the other two are live, I'll work with Kay to get something easy to find. I don't usually brag on myself, but I was really humbled by the other chiefs in Dare. They all unanimously supported me to take over as the regional director at the North Carolina Chiefs Association for our region. So I was elected to that position, held my first meeting with the Dare Chiefs a few weeks ago, went great. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for us to continue to have a voice across the state. Because we, not only here in Duck, of course we are, but in Dare County, we're very progressive in the things that we do, and there's a lot of bragging that should happen to the rest of the state to get them to come along with us. So with that.
First of all, congratulations on becoming the regional director.
Nice.
Thank you.
Have you noticed a lot more golf carts? Since Southern Shores changed their speed limit to 35, they seem to be up and down 12 now.
It's unbelievable how many golf carts I'm seeing. And we, as a leadership team, we've done a lot of talking about how best to address this. And I think the best way I can put it is aggressive enforcement. There's just too many violations they're not just minor violations. We're seeing people carrying infants, children in the rear-facing seats with no seat belts on, no child seats. And those are the most egregious violations are what we're going to focus on, not because we want to be heavy-handed, but because the last thing we want is a fatality accident with a golf cart. So
These are the street legal ones, right?
these are the street legal ones.
Right.
Yeah, we do have problems with golf carts,
Right.
but the real issues are the street legal carts, and the number one violation is children not in safety seats. And then seat belts is at number two.
Why in the heck would the state approve anything like that?
I am right there with you. I just don't understand what they were thinking.
It's so treacherous.
It's just, every time I see it, I just cringe because I'm worried. It's especially when I talk about the crosswalk accidents. There's when you have two vehicles, they're minor accidents. People walk away, but when you take essentially a golf cart and you put that together with an SUV or something, the outcome is not going to be good. So we're also reaching out to the companies and just imploring them to please tell your folks. And some of them are better than others. Some of them offer rentals of child safety seats and things, so they're there, but folks aren't taking advantage of it. So, it's leaving us little options other than to really get out there and try and stop what we can see.
Yeah, and letting the companies know that you will be heavily enforcing it, they can warn the people that this isn't going to go unnoticed. But
Exactly, that's what we're telling them is please tell people this is your warning. Last thing we want to do is go out and write tickets for this, but at the same time, it's got to think smartly. So hopefully that'll work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Jeff.
I will just mention, since you're, that we had someone in Kill Devil Hills get broken into. I would say that just because they left their door open. So we're kind of at that, we haven't had that huge issue in Duck, but it's a little easier to do it in Kill Devil Hills, Kitty Hawk, but people are starting to find those easy things, and certainly leaving a door open, a door unlocked in your car is just asking for trouble.
Yeah.
That's something we see in Duck.
But I think the word has gotten out that we use cameras and we use LPRs.
Yeah.
I think that has been the greatest deterrent.
Right.
Thank you.
Hello, members of council, Mr. Mayor. I've been selected to give our departmental update this evening. And I'd like to start by addressing item 1 under departmental updates, if that's okay. And that is the Planning Board Annual Report. In your packet this evening, you should have the Planning Board Annual Report. This report is consistent with the bylaws of the Planning Board, and under the direction of the Board Chair, we have given it to you this evening. Unless there are objections, we would like to provide you with this report in the future at our council retreat. And without going into too much detail about the report, it basically outlines that we had 6 special use permit applications, and we had 7 zoning text amendments, and our members of the planning board did attend some training back in September. So at least 3 members of the planning board. Okay?
I think it's a great summary. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
thanks, Jim.
You're welcome. So, let me start with something that's maybe a little bit outside of our department, but related. The Outer Banks, well, much like Chief Ackerman was appointed recently, I was appointed based on a nomination from Chief Ackerman to become the vice chair of the Outer Banks Bicycle and Pedestrian Safety Coalition. This coalition formed back in 2013 as a response to a lot of crashes here in Dare County and in Currituck County. And has since then done a lot for the community. You might remember those radio ads were seemingly very effective. You know, stop at Z crosswalk, keep a lookout for, you know, folks on their bicycles. But they kind of lost steam during COVID, and now they're back. And the idea now is to drum up support and get the group going again to support the mission that's written there, which is to help facilitate the education and awareness of practical bicycle and pedestrian safety to drivers, pedestrians, cyclists, and all those who live on or visit the Outer Banks of North Carolina in a positive and proactive manner. So what they do is they basically provide a lot of educational opportunities and awareness for folks that are on our beaches in the area. They do PSAs, local media support, but right now we're really just looking for more partners, better outreach, because we believe that the organization has a ton of room to expand, and we want to see it just become the force that it maybe once was, or even more of a force in the future. So my ask of you this evening, and folks that are out there listening in the digital world, is to join us. If you're interested in volunteering in any manner, please reach out to me at vicechair@obxbikeped.org. Check out our obxbikeped.org website, and you can even scan the QR code, much like Kay has made in previous presentations. So please, if you would consider looking into the Outer Banks Bicycle and Pedestrian Safety Coalition, that'd be wonderful. So, and here in the town of Duck, I think it's very important that we have a role on this committee, considering we are such a bicycle and pedestrian friendly community, and we can only get better as time goes forward. So, all right. On that note, provide you with sort of a semi-annual update on our bicycle and pedestrian counters that we have installed around town. So we have 4 automated counters in the town of Duck. 2 of them are fixed in position. The picture on the right-hand side of the screen there is actually Kim installing one of them just north of Sandy Ridge Road as you head onto the Army Corps, into the Army Corps area. And then the lower left is actually one of our mobile counters. You can barely even see it there because it's so inconspicuous on that post. That's actually set up right out here at Memory Lane, or Memory Lane with the bricks, Memory Brick Lane. I'm not sure what we're calling it, Memory Lane. These are really excellent things because they can basically answer a lot of questions like, you know, where are the people going? Where are the people going in our park? Where are the people using the path the most? We can set up these movable counters on the boardwalk to track traffic on the boardwalk. So it's going to provide us with a lot of accurate and clear data to basically assess the benefits of bike tourism. That's one reason why, and basically have a lot of use here for future grant applications, et cetera, et cetera. So here's some of the data, or representative data, the sample of the data that we can collect. So this is from our Four Seasons counter that's been installed for a number of years on the multi-use path. And we can see a low point there, which was actually the beginning or the end of April, on April 28th. And I went back and looked at why the low point was so low that we only had 21 people using the path that day, whether it's bicyclists or pedestrians, and it was directly related to weather. And then we see come Memorial Day weekend, with the influence of no swimming days and sort of poor beach weather, we saw a huge influx of people on the trail come Memorial Day. So that's kind of interesting to see there. Another example of data that can be provided. So this is tracking bicycle movement at our Sandy Ridge location into and out of the town of Duck. And we can see that after 9 p.m., there's no one riding on our trail. So what that means is maybe we don't have to engage with folks so hard to provide them with bicycle lights. Or maybe if you have a restaurant that's primarily serving dinner, maybe you don't need as many bicycle racks, say, as someone who's serving breakfast or lunch, right? So we can look at this and interpret the data in different ways. This is our memory lane counter setup. And I think that the interesting thing is here is to point out that since April 15th, we have had 2,551 visitors to the Memory Lane project. So I think that's excellent, with certain spikes there, like on May 28th, which was a sunny day. It was a little overcast, 63 degrees, with 113 people visiting the path. So that's the type of information that we can get and use in the future. All right, onward to the fun stuff. Not too many big changes in terms of last year compared to this year in our monthly building permits. This is a time of year where come June we'll see a nice drop. We're one of the few departments in town that actually maybe, I'll use this word hesitantly, slows down during the summer. Just a big spread north of the pier of all different sorts of permits. South of the pier, same thing, not too many clusters, fairly spread out. You do see some bright green, the pink dots there, and these are for our tent permit applications. So you might see one in the vicinity of the waterfront shops and across the street at Duck Landing for Red Sky, getting a tent permit application so that they can have their covered area for outdoor dining and a fundraising event up at the waterfront shops. A couple new homes, one oceanfront, or both oceanfront. One of them is a duplex. This was the duplex that burned down this time last year on Quarter Deck Drive. Okay, they're finally getting to the point where they're going to rebuild that. And then we had a short update from Ken Willson this evening about phase 2 being reworked for our Resilient Coastal Communities program. Now this goes into our phase 4 application, which was submitted on the 27th of April. And the proposed project there is at the end of Teresa Court off of Christopher Drive. We're proposing a stormwater, a bioretention area, in the middle of the cul-de-sac there with pervious pavers, and with a grant application that we've submitted for, we've asked for $100,000, and we would be supplementing an additional $45,000 in for that work. So we're excited to learn whether or not we get selected, but at this moment in time, there's no date that's been established for the award of that grant, but hopefully we'll hear about it soon. So the town of Duck did advertise for bids for our Resilient Coastal Community project, our Coastal Resiliency project. And we received 2 bids. The bid openings will officially occur on June 13th, but we will need to re-advertise for bid opening dates because of North Carolina state law requirements requiring that we have 3 bids. So I believe I got that correct. Joe is nodding his head. Our community tent survey did close on June 1st. We had 1,067 comments, And we believe that we may reopen this tent survey. This was surveying the community's feelings on canopies and the beach being used for commercial activity within the town. So the response, though, that we have collected as we've started to process a little bit of the data is primarily coming from folks that stay here full time. And we want to also engage those folks that are renting in the community to get a better representative sample. So we might be working with Kay to reopen this survey and let it run throughout the summer, perhaps until Labor Day weekend, to get a better representative sample. It's open. Oh, it's open. Great, it's open. So we can. Our nature play area over in the town park, just north of the gravel parking lot, in our the wooded area there, is underway with the help of Billy Berryman and Troop 117. And this is kind of what it looked like before the installation. After these guys got to work this Sunday, they're out there from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. They're able to get some more things installed. Actually, some tourists set up that teepee there, so someone's already out there playing, so that wasn't part of something that the Boy Scouts actually put in place. But you can see some balance beams going in there, and we're excited about this project hopefully wrapping up before the summer's over, and being a really creative, fun place for kids to interact with the outdoors. Now, finally, we've had some excellent volunteers working with us in the office to digitize our records. And as the project now is closed, we're able to provide some information out there. So this project really began with the help of Kay back in August of last year, and it wrapped up officially on May 26th, and then in about 2 weeks from now, the company's gonna come and collect all these boxes of files. We ended up with 7,307 permits, okay? We had 112 large prints. Those are the rolls on the right-hand side. We ended up with 84 boxes of permits. 238 total volunteer hours went into this. So these are people sitting at a computer, painstakingly looking through permits and just plugging in numbers into an Excel spreadsheet. And some of our volunteers actually made our spreadsheet what it is today, and were excellent at helping us organize our files digitally. And then other than that, we are still doing duck sweep, so we're looking for volunteers. I'm excited to have another duck sweep for Jazz Fest this year and make it a jazzy duck sweep. Maybe I don't know, maybe I'll play the saxophone. I guess I should probably learn how to play the saxophone. But that being said, that is all. There's questions.
On that project, congratulations for starting it and for all the volunteers that did that. I know it's always was fun to see a volunteer sitting behind the desk when you came up, say like, oh. But where do the digital copies get stored? Is it on a server, remote server in the network somewhere? Like, where does the actual stuff reside?
So some of it will be on our Z drive. It should get stored on our drive. And the backup criteria, I don't know, Kay, do you know that specifically? So the company Smooth Solutions may be hosting it?
So the company that helped us digitize all this is hosting it for a year? I just was curious because I think about stuff like this for my own company.
So when we started this, that was one concern, because clearly there are many permits and you can't just put something in the cloud without thinking about the space that it takes. So I can't recall the exact time frame that they host it, but they do host it on their server, essentially in their cloud, as they scan things in. So the benefit to that too is, say someone calls Jim and says, you know, they need something from box 84 for this property, we'll have access to it on the cloud immediately. So that's kind of a bridge between us and them until we can get everything transferred over to us. But essentially we'll then have it on our server. And I think I can't recall again, and I'm sorry, if they mentioned something about putting it on some sort of hard drive, so we have another format of these files as well.
Yeah, and another location probably would be good.
Yes, yes.
That's what I'm thinking.
So it won't be all on the cloud, but we'll have multiple ways to access that. But initially, it will be on a cloud.
And there is a next step that will probably involve some volunteers too, and that is checking that what we sent off, we actually got back, and being able to double check that.
Yeah, auditing it a little bit, yeah. I mean, and not to get too granular, and maybe our IT people can help us, but it probably would be a good idea to have it, like you said, redundant, but maybe pay for it to be in the cloud if that's, I mean, because that's kind of critical data down the road. Pay for it off-site, it might be a fee, but depending on that, it just might be important enough.
So all of our data is backed up. It's either every hour or every half day, but it's a frequent mirroring of all the data we have, and that is off-site.
Oh, great.
So, yeah.
Okay, great.
And Shoreline is aware of the large storage that will be required. So as we start getting these in, I know that we'll work with Shoreline to make sure that it will be integrated without causing any sort of distress to what we have. So they're aware that it's on their horizon.
Sounds like a lot of data.
Yes.
Well, thank you. That's exciting to get that digitized.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks,
No
Jim.
questions, Jim? What time does duck sweep start, 7 now?
So duck sweep is going to start at 9 o'clock this Friday.
9 o'clock still?
Yes.
It's getting warm out.
It's going to be 63 degrees at 9 a.m. with no breeze this Saturday, or this Friday.
I bring my coffee with me.
That's easier.
There we go. All right, now that I've been technologically defeated first. Mayor, Council, thank you guys for the opportunity this evening. I'll be pretty quick here. The first thing that we're going to run down for the month, just as a reminder that we're coming into hurricane season here. The predictions this year are a little bit lower than normal, actually. That's that whole El Nino thing. We've got this nice, cool weather. Some people like it, some people don't. My wife is not happy with it, so I hope it changes soon. Again, the predictions are the 12 to 17 named storms, 5 to 9 hurricanes, and 1 to 4 majors. So you guys know how good those predictions are. We can shake them up and throw them out. The big takeaway there, though, is now is the time to prepare, time to get things ready to go so that we're not scrambling at the last minute. So our total calls for service through the month of May, you can see that we are dead even with where we were last year. That came as a little bit of a surprise to some of us because it felt like we were going to be low coming out of April still, but we have maintained somehow. You can see across the past few years there, we had the little bit of a high spike in 2021, and we're kind of developing what our new normal is here, down just a few calls, 3 calls there for the year this year. And then just our breakdown of where our calls fell this year. Fortunately, fires are down. That's a good thing. That means our prevention side is working well. And then that's just that bar graph to show you how all of that breaks out. Our training hours for the month and our activities are at 453, with 270 of those coming from our career staff and 183 out of our volunteer staff. That's a really high number for the month of May. We're starting to increase operations. There's a lot going. We're coming to the end of inspections. As you can see there, we've got 22. Next month, we'll have 1 or 2 that are the remaining kind of couple that need to get re-inspected and done. But the training hours being high is a testament to our staff and their commitment to providing the highest quality of service that they can. We do want to highlight one piece to that, which is the joint training that we did with the police department here just last week. We hosted a financial wellness and mental wellness piece that we're kind of working with the police department on to present something that gives our folks a good, solid foundation to work off of. Just a quick update on some of the public safety building repairs. We do have a contractor selected, and we're going to get ready to start moving on that. We sent that out and tried to solicit 3 bids and got told, sorry, we're too busy, and sorry, we're too busy again, and had to back up and punt a little bit. We were a little overzealous on some of the repairs, so there was some rewriting of our specification sheet, but you can see here in these 3 pictures kind of 3 of the broad spectrum of things we're getting fixed. We've got some doors that have rotted to the point that the hinges are now pulling out and there's nothing left to screw to. We've got siding. That picture of siding is a singular spot. You guys have all been to the building. You've seen it. You know that there are several places on every probably 10 foot of wall that have spots like that. And then additionally, we're going to repair some interior drywall. So we did have our annual meeting last week. In that, our board of directors has changed slightly. I'll take a moment here because I did not have time to add in a slide or find a good picture. Kent Zimmerman was on the board formerly. He has officially, or I guess as of the 30th of this month, will be retired from the fire department. So we appreciate his time and his dedication that he's put in. We certainly will miss him, although we've let him know that, anytime he wants to stop by, he is welcome to a cup of coffee, and we'd love to see him. We won't be seeing none of him because his wife is still in the back room there, so he'll still have to come by.
I was going to ask you about her.
But our board did change slightly. Pat Scarlett is still our chairperson. Bob Mack, who's the lieutenant with us, is moved to the secretary-treasurer role that I believe Kent was serving in prior. And then Ralph Allison, who is a up-and-coming newer volunteer for us that has really shown a lot of potential, has stepped in and was voted in as the vice chair. And the last thing I have is, do you have any questions? That picture there is actually from the annual meeting night, and it is a good representation of both our career staff and of some of our volunteers there, where they were out back playing wiffle ball. While they were waiting for the meeting to get started, we had a pickup game of wiffle ball that got.
I always wondered if you needed that to keep them in line.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Trey.
Absolutely, thank you.
Great group.
Okay. Did I do it right? Good evening, everyone. I'm going to give you a quick monthly financial update. Okay. So moving on here. No. Okay, I lied, I need you. There we go. Okay, thank you.
All right, so we ended May with $16,706,942 in out of our total cash balance. Excluding our beach nourishment bond accounts, it was almost $13 million. Compared to last May, it was an 8.3% increase. There we go. The general checking account balance at May 31st was $1,148,277. This was 8.9% of our general fund cash balance. The remaining funds obviously were in our investment accounts, with the majority being in the North Carolina Capital Management Trust portfolio. This just shows our revenues, the total collection compared to the prior year, as well as the budget. I'm going to go into that a little more details. We received the sales and use tax for February collections. This was a 7.8% increase from the prior year. And then year to date, we are up 13.8% compared to last year. Property taxes received were for the month of April. This was a 29% decrease, but overall year to date, we're still at 100.74% collected. So we're still looking good. Motor vehicle tax, again, collected for the month of April. This was a 12.4% decrease, but as you can see, it was a very small amount in the number. We received occupancy tax for the March collections. This is a 1.9% increase compared to last March. Year to date, we're still up 7.5% as well. Beer and wine tax was received. This is for the past year, April to March 2023. This is a 16.7% increase. This has kept going up the past few years. I just wanted to mention some other revenues we collected in May. We received the Shoreline grant from Dare County. This was for all the beach grass in the amount of $24,000. We also received rental income from the property that was purchased, just over $1,000. Year to date was almost $28,000. Sponsorships, kudos to Kay and Betsy. They've received just over $74,000 this year. In May, it was $6,000. And then, of course, the memory lane brick revenue collected for fiscal year '24. This didn't reflect in your financial statements because it's under prepaid revenues for next year. So in May, we collected a little over $5,000. Investment earnings, we received almost $60,000. I do want to point out next month it's not going to be quite as high because we are making those beach nourishment payments this month, so you're going to see those go down, just maybe 10,000 or so. This just shows our expenditures. Overall, we are within budget for this fiscal year. And then this shows our revenues versus expenditures for the month of May. Expenditures were higher, but we were trying to get a lot of last-minute projects completed before the end of the year. And as you can see, it is on trend with last May. One last update I want to give you. Last month I mentioned we were being considered by the North Carolina League of Municipalities for the Municipal Accounting Services software program. We were selected. We met with a representative about 2 weeks ago. They are estimating that we will be ready for software conversion at the end of this calendar year. So I just wanted to let you all know that. And I will take any questions if you have any.
Is that a state program?
So yes, I'm sorry, you weren't here last month. The league is using their COVID relief funds. They worked with Black Mountain Software to create a finance software that's more government specific and for smaller municipalities that need it. They're giving a large amount of these funds to towns that are on the unit assistant list, but they are doing 20% of just towns that are smaller and are using something like QuickBooks. So,
Thank you.
Any other questions?
That would be really interesting to see how that conversion helps with everything.
Yeah, and the representative we're working with, she said that they've done conversions from QuickBooks before. She said it'll be fairly simple based on what she's seen from our records. She said it'll take about 2 months. So.
How many towns do they select? Do you know?
I don't know the exact number. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thanks.
All right, going on to item number 11, the mayor's agenda. I have a few items here. I have my mayor's chairman meeting on June 20th, going to be hosted by Kitty Hawk. was Southern Shore's turn, but we've had to move the arrangements around a little bit. Town manager reviewed, remind council, we're going to be doing that in the month of July. I did send out a preliminary note on that. Monica agreed to coordinate some of the input, and so there'll be more forthcoming on that, but look forward to that once we head into July. And just one other item, kind of an interesting one, but I met with an individual by the name of Mitchell Whitley last Saturday morning, and this individual is interviewing every mayor in the state of North Carolina. It's kind of a personal project, and I think at the end of it, he wants to do some sort of a book. He's talked to the 550 mayors, give or take. I was the 221st mayor he had talked to. So this individual lives in Raleigh. He's been traveling around the state for the last year or two, talking to mayors. He had already talked to Nags Head, Kill Devil Hills, and Kitty Hawk. Was scheduled to come here last 4th of July, but for one reason or another didn't make it. But he got here this last Saturday, and after he finished here in Duck, then he went up to Southern Shores. His father travels with him quite a bit. Very interesting in the stories, and of course what he's trying to do is just understand the towns and understand the leadership and understand why people get into elected office and the difference in mayors. So it's going to be an interesting collection when he puts it together. He's not sure exactly, the end result, what it's going to be, if he's going to go through all 550 or maybe do it in pieces. He might do it by West Coast or Western Mountains and Eastern Coast and Central North Carolina, but it was kind of interesting. And so I sent him on his way with a lot of information about Duck. It'll be interesting to see once that's completed in years to come. That's all I have. Going on to council members' agenda, starting with our Mayor Pro Tem, Monica.
Thank you so much, Mayor. I just had I already said my kudos to the Public Information Office and also just the staff in general for everything they're doing, ongoing appreciation for everything that you work so hard on all the time. Congratulations to Kay and Jeff for their tenure here, and that's exciting. It just, time flies. I can't believe it. But anyway, appreciate that. And then on the Visitors Bureau side, I hope you've read some in the news about the reporting for the vision. I feel that I was an enthusiastic proponent of that and looking to where tourism is could be in the next 20 years. And it's essentially a look at, after a great study, it's something that'll be ongoing with a residential. It's encouraging to have a resident advisory council for tourism, really engaging the community, and with the idea that folks that it's not quantity, it's quality. I'll coin that phrase for them, but it's just to give you an idea. It's definitely not a difficult report to read, and I encourage everybody to read it and hopefully stay engaged and involved in a lot of the recommendations that they've got for just improving the visitor and resident experience, as we all love this community so much. Other than that, just a shout out to please subscribe to our Duck newsletter. If you don't, I'm definitely trying to push it out there as much as I can because it's a great way to get a lot of good information. So thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Councilmember Sandy?
Nothing this evening.
Councilmember Tony?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just two things. One, I want to commend Drew and the entire staff on the budget process again this year. I think it was extremely well done, and as I said, in my 40-some-odd years in the business world, I've never had a budget come up to me in such good shape. I know you folks put a lot of work into it before it gets up to us, and we really appreciate that. So thank you very much. The other thing is, as you know, I'm our representative on the Government Education and Access Committee, and they are looking for a channels manager. Brad Daniels, who was in that role, left to seek other employment. So if you know anybody who's kind of in that media world in terms of program planning, production, and also some administration, they're looking for someone to fill that position. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Tony. At this time, I'm going to open up public comments. If anyone would like to address the council, please step forward to the podium and state your name and address and limit your comments to 3 minutes. There being no one, I'll shut public comments. Is there any other business to come before council this evening? There being none, I'll remind council the next scheduled meeting will be the regular meeting on Wednesday, July 5th, 2023 at 6 p.m. And with that, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are now adjourned.
Okay. And there you have it.
See you guys the other night.
Yeah, that was, yeah. You know,